There's been a lot of misinformation about the stats in Sonic Racing Crossworlds, so I decided to get the definitive answers by testing them all and comparing them side by side. And I'll be sharing what I've learned with you guys, along with some secret tactics, hidden unlockable characters, and much more. So in contrast with most YouTubers these days, here are 17 useful facts about Sonic Racing Crossworlds. First of all, the power stat. People have been saying it helps you recover faster after being hit with an item, so I went into a 2-player split screen max with 2 different vehicles, the lowest possible power versus the highest possible power build. I put down a spike ball at the finish and ran into it with full speed, and you can tell the high power vehicle recovered much faster, despite the low power vehicle having more acceleration. Unfortunately, there's no speedometer when playing split screen, and playing with CPUs I kept getting warped by Omochao when falling behind too much, so I couldn't test it properly there. But from the side-by-side comparison, it's very clear the power stat helps you recover faster. I also tried comparing it to an acceleration vehicle, which has a decent power stat, and while this matchup was much closer, the high power still recovered faster. So while acceleration helps, power is much more important for recovery, which I didn't realize in my first Sonic Racing Crossworlds video. But power has other uses as well, like losing less rings when you run into a wall. As you can see, the low power vehicle loses 2 rings, the mid power vehicle loses 1, and the high power doesn't lose any. Another stat people often get wrong is the boost. This stat doesn't actually make your boost itself any faster, but it does make your drift gauge charge quicker, though not by a significant amount, as you can see by this test here, where I made a drift on the stern holding the left stick all the way to the left. I added the boost tuner kit to the clip on the right, increasing it by 20, but it barely made a difference. Using a really low boost stat vehicle does make it more noticeable though. Handling acceleration and speed do what you'd expect, but the difference is also smaller than you'd think. Here I use a high speed vehicle versus a low speed vehicle, and there's only a difference of 3 on the speedometer. So in reality, most of the stats only give you a slight advantage. Now that we've selected our combo, we can move on to what we should do in-game, such as collecting rings. So having 99 rings increases your speed by about 7 compared to when you have 0 rings, but having 100 rings increases it by 7 more, so having max rings is really important, though having more than 100 doesn't increase your speed further. So gadgets like the 130 ring limit don't make you any faster. That doesn't mean they're useless though, because there are a bunch of things in the game that try to take the rings away from you, like walls, other players, and of course, items. So since having max rings is so important, gadgets that prevent you from going under that, like the 130 ring limit and the crash pad, are actually really useful. Besides rings, there are some other things on the track, like grass, which you usually don't want to touch because it will slow you down a ton. Though using a white wisp you can go over it without any issues, allowing you to take useful shortcuts. But the white wisp is not the only way to avoid slowdown on grass. You can also cut through any off-road with these rainbow boost panels. They appear on the track on lap 3, and sometimes they're near grass, like this one on E Stadium. This means you can take this shortcut each time, and it's really not difficult to do at all. If the dash panel is on the left, when you hit it, just drift as much to the right as you can and you're golden. And if it's on the right, it's even easier, but that's still not the only way to cut through off-road. If you have the Lazer wisp, drill wisp, or warp ring, you can drive through grass for a second and then activate your item, allowing you to take any off-road shortcut as well. But there's still one item that you can take grass shortcuts with you'd never expect, that being Omochao. Activating it a second before hitting the off-road will let you cross it without any issues. So as soon as Bro starts dropping rings, you're invulnerable to off-road. But who cares about shortcuts when you can't even take the turns? If you find yourself running into the wall often, you should just let go of the accelerate button sometimes. Some sharp turns are better to take a bit slower, and for some of them it would even be better to brake so you can take them tighter. Before moving on though, I quickly want to make an announcement. The upcoming weekend I'll be hosting a crazy game modes tournament on Sonic Racing Crossworlds. Game modes like only OP items, where there'll be only the drill, the monster truck and the such, or the complete opposite, only skillful items to see what the game would be like with no luck involved, or even just only magnets to see how many of them we can fit on the track. Basically I just want to experiment with a bunch of stuff and I need you guys to help me. Saturday, October 18th at 2 PM EST, I'll be streaming it all live on this channel, so definitely subscribe if you don't want to miss it. Now let's get back to the video. But there are easier ways to increase your chances of winning as well, like having the optimal controls. So by default the controls are set to accelerate with the bottom button. And you may think this is just a matter of preference, but setting this to accelerate with RB is actually more beneficial. That's because a lot of stuff is mapped to the buttons on your right thumb, like looking back on square and item swapping with triangle. Just imagine you want to swap items while driving. You'd have to stop accelerating and move your thumb all the way to the button, which in a racing game loses you a lot of time. By having accelerate on RB, you can just hold that down and freely use your thumb for using items, looking behind you and item swapping, instead of awkwardly letting go of accelerate and going to the swap button. So I definitely recommend using this layout. Besides being good at the game, it's also important to look cool while doing it. And what better way to do that than with some secret characters. So after beating the first 7 Grand Prix, in the extras menu you unlock the friendship tab. Here you can donate tickets to whichever character you'd like. But of course you're not just mindlessly simping for them, because they give you rewards as well. It starts with a title for 100 Donpot tickets, then a decal for 400, then another decal for 1000, after which you can get the good stuff, a skin for your character. These are the rival racers you can face in Race Park, and they look sick. I especially like the red on Shadow, it's awesome. You do need 1500 tickets to unlock it though, combined with all the previous things you have to unlock first, that's a total of 3000. And if you're crazy enough, there's even a final reward for 7000 tickets, which is a title describing the character you simmed for. Unlocking all of this stuff is going to be insanely difficult, because you'll need 230,000 for all of it. But luckily there are fast ways to get tickets, like by getting red rings. You'll get 30 for the first time you get all of them in a race, and on your second time you can still get all of them and get 10 tickets per race. Another even quicker way is by doing challenges. Each time you do one of them, the Chow in the challenge tab will move, and when they reach this flagpole you get 200 tickets. And some of the challenges are super easy and just require you to play a certain mode or use a certain gadget. Of course you can use multiple gadgets at once, which means you can also do multiple challenges at a time. Speaking of gadgets, there are some that you can unlock through playing ranked, and some of those are really useful as well, like the crash pads. They have the amount of rings you lose when getting hit with an item, and you unlock them at rank D-. The friction drift is the most difficult to unlock, which you get at B rank. It slows you down while drifting, but it makes your cogs charge faster. But there's also a free vehicle you can unlock without even playing the game. To do so, all you need to do is make a Sega account on sega-account.com. Then after making the account, scroll down until you see this image. This will take you to another website where you can get a code which you can redeem on your platform. You can do this until October 31st. And I'm realizing I sound like I'm sponsored by Sega, but that's not the case unfortunately. Hopefully you learned a thing or two from this video, and if you enjoyed it, I definitely recommend subscribing, as I have lots of other Sonic content you'll enjoy, and I'll be making many more. Leave a like and comment as well, and thanks for watching.